It's July 18th, 2021, and what you're about to witness is the greatest match of Super Smash Bros. Melee ever played. Thank you to Exter, who is paid to be mentioned in today's video. As an influencer who's been attempting to use his influencing powers in the wallet industry for literal years, I'm honestly pretty excited that Exter reached out. Wait, did I just call myself an influencer? Oh my god. Exter is known for inventing the first trackable wallet. So if you're like me and have horrible night terrors wherein you hide your wallet from yourself, sometimes you may want to know where that silly little sleep paralysis demon hid your credit card. The Exter wallet has a solar-powered tracking device that lets you track your wallet's location right from your phone, same as any other device. The wallet's also super slim, which I really like. You can carry over 12 cards in it, plus cash, and it's got this sweet trigger mechanism that makes me feel like I'm kinda in a duel. It's got your standard RFID protection to protect you from data theft and wireless skimming, and it's sustainable, made from environmentally friendly materials like vegan Italian leather, or in the case of the one I'm using right now, space-grade aluminum. So if you need a carry essential upgrade and want to help me out a bit, you can get up to 45% off with my code turndownforALT by going to partner.exter.com/turndownforALT. Thanks again to Exter for supporting the channel, and I hope you enjoyed today's video.
Hey, what up everybody? So first of all, chat, everyone coming in, welcome. It's out of the YouTube, because this might be immortalized in YouTube history.
Mango is doing that thing he does again. You know, that thing where he loses early and then gets so mad that no matter what obstacle you put in front of him in the loser's bracket, it won't stop him. It had been a while since we'd seen this Mango, but fans of the game knew it well. In 20 years of Melee prior to Smash Summit 11, there had been just 7 players in the game's history who had lost in the winner's side of bracket before reaching top 8, and then went on to win the entire tournament. 3 of those wins were from Mango. First in 2008 at Pound 3, then again at EVO 2013, and a third time at Press Start in 2015. And thanks to a set loss earlier that morning to Plup, Mango could now kick off Melee's return to offline play by doing it for a 4th time, the first since Hungrybox won a whopping 9 sets in a row to win Low Tier City 7 in 2019. He'd already won 5 sets in losers, an already rare feat in the world where Melee's top players had become unfathomably consistent. He'd already beaten 2 of his biggest roadblocks in Cody and Hungrybox, and he'd already won the run back against Plup. Things were looking good, honestly. But if Loser's Bracket Mango was Melee's unstoppable force, he was about to run into Melee's immovable object.
I had no intention of making a career out of Melee or anything. It was just something I started picking up in college, just as a pastime, because I was planning on joining a bunch of clubs and stuff when I entered my freshman year. But then once I had joined the Smash Club, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm completely hooked.
Zain had been one of Melee's up-and-comers for a long time. At Shine 2018, he joined the very short list of players to win a major in the era of the 5 gods, and from then on, it felt like a question of when, not if, he'd take that next step. He earned a 2nd straight top 10 ranking in 2019, an excellent season where he came so close to winning multiple majors, but never quite closed the deal. But when he won his biggest ever tournament to ring in 2020 at Genesis 7, it felt like that tournament would kick off his rise to the top. And then the game was forced online. Online didn't push Zain off the path at all though. When Slippy and the magic of rollback netcode revitalized Melee's tournament scene in mid-2020, Zain pounced on the opportunity, dominating online brackets like the Slippy Champions League and taking the title at the online Smash Summit 10. Ranking Melee in 2020 was unscientific at best, but most people you'd talk to would agree Zain was the best player in the world thanks to his Genesis and Summit wins. Zain was on his way to becoming the first Marth player since Ken, then known as the King of Smash, to claim the title of best Melee player in the world. And aside from his swath of tournament wins, a big reason he was even able to challenge the likes of Ken and Mewtwo King was in Zain's absolute destruction of space animals. Against characters like Fox, it was particularly dire. Zain had not lost to one since Leffen at Smash and Splash 5 in summer of 2019, an almost 2-year-long streak against an entire species of player. Some of this is just the strength of Marth, of course. Without platforms to break up the chain grab, any grab against a Spacey can go as far as the Marth can take it. I mean, hell, that's why fans of the game so fondly remember the M2K Final Destination counterpick. But there was no Marth out there, not even Mewtwo King, not even Ken, who had ever had a punish game as consistent or as deadly as Zain. And that's why he was the one en route to his first ever #1 ranking in 2022. Zain's win over Cody, then known as IBDW earlier in the Summit 11 bracket, brought their major set count to 10-0 in Zain's favor, and it included a 3 stock on FD, pushing Zain's record against Cody on that stage specifically to 9-1. Zain had a 21-4 set count against SFAT, which included a 16-2 game count on FD. He was undefeated against Fiction in 7 sets, including a 4-0 game count on FD. And he had reversed his fortunes against Leffen, winning their last 3 sets, all 3 zeros, so we never even got to see an FD. Are you seeing a pattern here? Well, you may be thinking, what about the Falcos? And they weren't really doing much better. Zain was 14-1 against Ginger to this point, and to Ginger's credit, he had drawn blood on FD twice when down 2-0, but just wasn't able to finish the job. Zain won the run back against him both times with a 3-2 lead in the FD game count. And then, of course, there was Mango. Zain had the lead in their lifetime set count at 15-9, but Mango had only used Falco against him to this point in major sets. Zain only had a 58.5 game win rate in these sets, but the problem was he could pretty much convert any lead in a set thanks to his dominance on FD. Mango had finally started to figure things out a bit during the lead up to Summit in the Slippy Champions League, taking a couple sets in part thanks to wins on Final Destination. But even with victories like that, including a 3-1 with 2 FD wins in Week 1 of SCL Season 2, the lifetime numbers were just abysmal. On this stage alone, Zain was up 19-5. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, Major League Baseball managers were so afraid to pitch to Barry Bonds in his prime that they would intentionally walk him in increasingly absurd situations, escalating to a point where the Diamondbacks intentionally walked Bonds with the bases loaded in a 2-run game. Zain's Final Destination was essentially becoming the Barry Bonds of Melee. It had gotten to the point where some Fox players were starting to counterpick Zain to Final Destination themselves, a last-ditch effort to use Dave's stupid rule to prevent him from getting to play out the final 2 games of a set on the same stage. Did this decision actually increase their odds at winning the set? No, absolutely not. But does the fact that players still tried it show just how atrocious it felt to be in this situation? Yes, absolutely yes. But on the flip side, there are very few situations in which anybody would count out a fully activated losers bracket Mango. After dropping the first 2 games on Zain, he did what he had to do to force this situation, winning a clean Game 3 on Dreamland. And even still, these were the vibes as Game 4 started, with the mountain that is winning 2 sets against Zain's Marth on Final Destination in front of him.
Okay, Mango's on the board. FD we go.
FD we go.
Yeah, let's not act like Zane's gonna sit here and think about it. We know what time it is.
Yeah. Mango
The
needs
real
to
question
win
is, can
2
Mango do it twice?
There's a world where the very first interaction of this game goes differently, and this video doesn't exist at all. Maybe we're making a different video about Zain's utter domination of Final Destination, with this set as just another footnote. About 5 seconds into the game, Mango has Zain in the corner, but he blows his double jump in a way that gives Zain a terrifying opening. But he wasn't able to hit Mango before he landed, and didn't do nearly as much with the grab as he could have. Mango instead found a quick reversal back air and a perfectly timed edge hog to make Zain's stock disappear, a complete 180 from what everybody expected to happen as Fox reached the apex of his double jump. Zain was just too good to keep down forever though, and even with that huge drop, he managed to even the stock count at 2 apiece. But if you looked at the pace from Mango, it was scary. This was the first time he had ever tried Fox against Zain, and the speed Mango's Fox brought to the matchup seemed to be throwing Zain off. Mango was taking advantage of even the smallest mistakes. After a crazy interaction off stage, Zain managed to bring things to a last stock situation. Zain was at 90% as Mango came off the Angel platform, and you would think this is a winning situation for Mango. But just listen to the crowd as Zain, once again, finds a grab.
Ooh, Mango gotta hold on to this one.
Up air.
Zain
Stuck in
misses
the
it there.
Yeah.
Up tilt trade.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay.
This could be the last stock. Never forget.
Guys,
Oh, yo,
remember
wow.
what map we're on.
Wow.
Remember what map this is. This is Final D. One
And
grab is
Zain
all it
gets
takes.
Zain, this could be the tournament.
This could be the tournament for Zain.
41, 50, 53.
Oh, he dropped it.
Mango missed his first couple chances at forcing a Game 5. Zain was recovering from everywhere, quite frankly, but after a stray back air, Mango just barely found the edgeguard he needed to get to a final game. And after all that, he had to do it again. Except this time, he wouldn't have such a fast start to work with. The mistakes that opened up the Game 4 lead for Mango were looking cleaned up in Game 5. Zain took the first stock and was well on his way to taking the second. This was Zain's final destination as advertised. But then, he gave Mango an opening, and Mango burst through it. And so, somehow, here they were. 2 stocks apiece, dead even. Melee's unstoppable force versus Melee's immovable object.
Okay, that's a stop.
One stock away from a reset.
For a frame, and it's enough.
One stock away from Mango.
Oh, yo.
Oh my
Yo, he's
God.
cooking.
He's on.
He's cooking.
Oh my
He's
goodness.
cooking. Just listen to Brandon.
We got a reset.
How is his
Crowd
controller?
going crazy.
I feel like Mango's controller should be melting. He's
Yeah,
playing
there should be
so
smoke coming off.
honestly, the fire alarm's about to go off.
Fire Marshal's like,
Brandon,
yo.
I haven't seen Mango's Fox play like this since Genesis 2.
Mango did to Zain what Marth players had done to countless opponents on Final Destination. He stole his jump for the first stock, and then took one opening all the way to the bank to force a reset. Mango had just done what pretty much everybody in the Melee world had considered impossible. The thing that had Fox players manically counterpicking Final Destination just to force Zain to go somewhere else. The thing that had Fox mains working on their Sheik or their Marth or just about any other backup character that could stick just for this stage. Mango had just won out in what pretty much everybody in 2021 agreed was the worst possible position. And what was his reward? He would have to do it again. Mango's comeback was made possible in part by a couple of not-so-minor flubs from Zain. Uncharacteristic misplays from somebody who was building a reputation as the cleanest Marth to ever play the game. The crowd was on fire, and there was nobody in the world who played better with an on-fire crowd behind him than Mango. That momentum in the room was undeniable. When Zain pressed start for Grand Final Set 2 after hardly any break at all, it was easy to assume he was writing his own obituary. But instead, Zain was the one playing on fire. He dominated the first 2 stocks of the new set, easily winning Game 1 and once again putting Mango behind the 8-ball. Because of this, Mango was going to have to deal with Final Destination yet again, and he needed to win this Game 2 badly, or else he was going to have to do the impossible for a second time. Despite a strong start in this game from Mango, an early edgeguard gave Zain a 3-stock to 2 lead. That dominant Zain that took a 2-0 lead in Set 1 looked to be close to fully back. He made another uncharacteristic mistake on an edgeguard attempt, going too low and just barely failing to take Mango with him, but he bounced right back, taking one forward air at a measly 38% and turning that into a near full stock lead. Zain did his best to put up a wall, but Mango continued to push the pace and kept finding openings. Zain had a solid lead on the final stock, sure, but with Mango's explosiveness, it might as well have been even.
Last stock, Mango gets the opening.
Okay.
50%.
Wait, Zain's
Back
not,
here.
Zain's not teching?
Did his controller get unplugged?
No, he's there. He's there.
He's there.
His feet get shield poked.
Mango with another lead. Beautiful tech by
wow.
Zain. Oh! No chance that Mango just dash danced and charged up smash in his face.
We're going the distance, Scar.
As expected, Zain locked in Final Destination for Game 3 and immediately showed why everybody was assuming Mango was cooked in Set 1. Zain got the lead right away and maintained it for the entire game without much of a hitch. There were some solid moments from Mango, not like it was a complete blowout or anything, but watching the total control Zain showed over the match on this stage just made Mango's consecutive wins in the previous set that much more staggering. How had he done it twice in a row? And how was it possible that it wasn't going to matter at all? For the second time, Zain had the lead in the set 2-1, but this time Mango had the counterpick for game number 4. He sent it to Yoshi's story, Fox's, and Mango's playground. On a stage this cramped, it feels impossible to escape Fox's threat range, and that just doubles when it's Mango's Fox moving like he has all set. One bad side B approaching the ledge gave Mango the lead, and he wouldn't give it up. A big recovery flub from Mango gave Zain a last-ditch shot at taking the tournament before a 10th and final game, but Mango held on. And the result was perhaps the highest stakes game in Melee history. For Zain, it was the opportunity to cement himself atop the Melee world, to add an offline Summit championship to his victory at the prior year's online edition as the pandemic shut down in-person events. It was a chance to prove he wasn't just the next #1 in the world, but a potential GOAT himself. For Mango, it was the chance to finally win a Summit. He had done pretty much everything else a Melee player could possibly do. Genesis? Check. MLG? Check. Pound? Check ×2. Evo? Check ×2. SmashCon? Check ×2. Revival of Melee? Check ×3. Big House? Check ×4. But Mango had been at every single Summit before this one, and every single time he fell short. Despite everything he had done to get the set to this point, he was just one game away from taking home his 3rd silver medal at a Summit instead of that elusive championship. Oh yeah, and there was also over $100,000 on the line, far and away the biggest prize pool in Melee history. Battlefield was the choice for this final Game 10. Now, in terms of head-to-head, Zain had a slight lead on this stage at 15-11, but that's certainly not a margin anyone could feel comfortable betting on, especially at this moment in time. Zain would draw first blood, and he wouldn't let off the gas. The speed and precision in which he took down Mango's second stock of Game 10 showed exactly why he was on track to become the next #1 in the world. But you'd be a fool to think a 2-stock lead in Melee is safe, especially if you had been watching Mango play in this set at all.
Mango has 2 stocks left in this tournament.
Mango's got to climb back, and this is going to be rough, but it's doable.
He's been playing from behind practically
Like
the whole set.
set. Yeah.
Finally does some
Finally!
late enough that it hunts.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Okay.
Oh no! Oh no!
Good smash TI by Zain.
Chat.
That was so necessary.
Oh,
Such a back air. They put up the wall here. Mango
okay.
chasing him with the nair.
That's another
Yep.
bad 4B.
Mark Killer's still there, right?
Oh,
no,
no,
he's
he just
dead.
does that invincibility.
He can just roll up.
Tie game again.
2 apiece.
Finally, almost uncharacteristically, the game slowed down a bit. After such quick stocks to open the game, neither player could find a clean opening. Mango slowly but surely clawed his way back and regained the lead, but Zain got him right back. It was truly as close as you could get. Melee fans love to joke about the script, but you really couldn't write this one better if you tried. An old legend and a new one going blow for blow on one of the game's biggest and most beloved stages, and it all somehow came down to the final stock of the final game of the most intense tournament of the time period. All that was left to do was for someone to make history.
They're fighting for their
It's
life.
been a grueling set.
Oh my God.
The bear's not there.
Somehow it just looked like Mango's gonna hold
Wait
on
a
a little
minute.
bit longer.
Wait a
3
minute.
stocks left.
Zain is fighting for his life.
Puppy.
Not enough. But that is
We're going to last stock. It had to be this
0%
way.
piece.
It had to be this way.
I'm losing my brain.
Crowd going crazy. Chant for Mango.
This is the new rivalry of the
Oh. Oh, the shield drop.
Zain dropping the play.
That's it.
Mango winning his first ever Smash Summit.
And the biggest prize for the
Biggest prize pool in Smash history.
I cannot believe it's Scar.
Mango a champion through the ages.
He has finally done it.
Zain was so close so many times, but I think the pressure was just too much.
Oh my God.
I don't
I
believe
got me up out of my seat,
I don't
bro.
believe what I just
Literally.
Was that the greatest set of Melee?
That was
That might be.
Was that the
I'm
greatest?
calling it now.
We've been
I'm
playing for-
calling
we've
it
been
now.
playing for 20 years.
I'm just waiting for the pundits and the analysts.
My goodness, that was the set of wills that
calling it now.
that was the most of a set of wills I've ever seen in my entire life.
It didn't just come down to the last stock. It came down to the last frame. If Zain's up air on the top platform of Battlefield arrived 1/60th of a second earlier, his combo continues, and with the execution Zain was known for, it could have been curtains right there. Instead, he hit Mango's shield, and Mango landed the shield drop back air heard around the world.
This was 1 frame off from hitting. This 1 frame changed the tournament. He can't shield here. Now he can shield. Zain being 1 frame late here changed the tournament.
It's easy to assume when a young player like Zain loses a match like this, in this fashion, that he'll get his eventually. But history rarely works out so cleanly. After all, Mango made Grand Finals at Summit 1, and it took him 10 more tries to finally reach the top. Unfortunately though, the untimely end of the Summit series means that Summit 11 ended up becoming Zain's best chance to ever win one. He would finish 5th at the final 2 iterations held in 2022. This Grand Finals, where Zain had so many chances to put it away, was the kind of set that could eat at a player forever. But if it was eating away at Zain, he sure didn't show it. It didn't even remotely stop him on his stomping to best player in the world, as he would earn his seemingly overdue first #1 ranking on the Summer 2022 MPGR and maintain it on the full year 2022 SSBM rank. It would have been easy to let this set define him, but he absolutely has not. If anything, Zain's continued success as he barrels towards another #1 ranking in 2025 only cements Mango's run at Summit 11 as one of the greatest Melee achievements of all time. Making big losers runs has always been impressive, but in modern Melee, the level of play has become so elevated that it has become almost impossible. Winning a tournament from a deep losers run often means you're going to have to beat somebody like Zain not once, but twice. It just doesn't happen often. IBDW, now known as Cody Schwab, made his legendary 11-set losers bracket run to win the Big House 11 in 2023. And that's the only other time a player has made a championship run after being sent to losers before top 8 in this decade. You didn't have to believe Mango was washed to think that his best moments were already behind him. That's just how good his first 13 years of professional Melee were. He had nothing left to prove to anybody except for maybe himself. But with this singular set, capping a 7-set losers run against some of the toughest competition of all time, he somehow managed to reach new heights. And after 10 tries over half a decade, Mango was finally a Summit champion. So what did this mean for Mango's legacy? On a broad scale, probably not that much if we're being honest. Most of the people who consider Mango the GOAT would still consider him the GOAT had he DQ'd at 9th place after losing to Plup on Sunday morning. But performances like this one at Summit 11 are a big part of why Mango's story has been so compelling for so long. There have been many points in Mango's career where it would have been easy to look at him and count him out. Sometimes we're right. He brings out a Marth or a Falcon or Doc Lee and bows out at a close to triple-digit placement. Other times, he goes from posting about wanting to go home to pulling off the most ridiculous losers run of a life full of them. We can't blame you if you didn't think Mango still had one of these in him. It had been 6 years, after all, since he had won a tournament after getting knocked to losers prior to top 8. His runs at Pound 3 in 2008, EVO 2013, and Press Start in 2015 essentially span his prime years, where he was ranked 3rd in the world at absolute worst. At Pound 3, he was a 16-year-old who wound up starting the main bracket in losers because he simply wanted to play Link and DK Dittos. He would then beat pretty much every single legend of 2000s Melee, Azin, Chudat, PC Chris, and Mewtwo King twice on his way to his first major championship, also becoming the youngest competitor to ever win a major. At EVO 2013, Melee's return to the biggest stage in fighting games and the biggest Melee tournament in history at that point, he got wobbled in his favorite game by the one and only Wobbles. He then dropped all of 2 games in a 7-set run that included 3 gods, PPMD, Armada, and Hungrybox, and 2 wins over the man who sent him down to losers in the first place. And at Press Start in 2015, he was DQ'd into losers for showing up late. He then simply decided he wouldn't lose, dropping all of 2 games and taking out Leffen, Lucky, Hbox, and Axe before 6-0ing Fly Amanita in Grand Finals. So, which losers run stands the tallest? There's honestly good arguments for all of them. The rise of the kid, the GOAT taking the crown at the biggest tournament of all time, even the seemingly impossible achievement of winning a tournament through losers without technically losing at all. Even if Mango was obviously still a great Melee player in 2021, it was easy to believe the era of those kinds of performances had passed us by. The first 2 games of Grand Finals at Summit 11 looked like a passing of the torch for the new generation. But instead, Mango showed us that he isn't done making history. He showed us that no matter how strong the opponent is, no matter how impossible the situation looks, thou shalt never, and I mean never, sleep on the kid.
I'm rising up now. I won't back down. Taking my shot now. Making my background. I'm rising up now. I won't back down. Taking my shot now. Making my background.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you've been around the channel for a bit, you may remember I started a documentary series called Melee's Greatest Hits last year, and this was sitting on the shelf for a while, so I wanted to get it out for you guys. Hope you liked it. Thanks as always to my Patreon and YouTube members. That's one of the best ways you can support the production of these videos, so if you want to help out and you, more importantly, have the disposable income to do so, it'd be cool to see your name in the credits. Thanks to Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Dark Genix, Eric is Cool, Gustavo Cantu Fernandez, Henry Huang, Ian, James Fabman, Justin Duncan Mills, Kyle Carlin, Marshall Bradley, and Sam Wright. See you guys next time.